Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Master Round in the Podcast. It has been about a week or so, but I am extremely stoked to drop these next few episodes with you. I've been on travel for the last 3 weeks, and while I was in San Diego, I was able to do some episodes. Drove up to LA, did a couple episodes up there. And this one you're about to listen to is in San Diego with Peter Cruz from Tribal Theory. But before we get to that, this episode is brought to you by Dimension Systems, Guam's premier computer and IT consulting company, creating solutions with technology. Whatever you're trying to do with your business, you want to grow your business, you want to see it be fruitful and multiply. Hence the saying, Dimension Systems is there for you. They've been providing the best service and support to their customers on the island since 1987, since I was born, literally. From computer networking to web design and system integration, Dimension Systems has always been committed to offering the best IT solutions, and they're consistently focused on your needs, the customer. So take that new business, shape it, see how technology can improve it, and go over to Dimension Systems today and let them help your business grow. I've honestly only scratched the surface of the type of services that Dimension Systems can provide. So if you're looking for more information on that, visit dimensionsystems.com or check out their Guam office over at the DFS Plaza in Tamuning, across the skate park, down the street from the elementary school. Whatever your choice, it's there. You'll see it. Walk in the door, turn left, boom. This episode is also brought to you by Mosa's Joint, located in the heart of Hagatna City, and they're serving up the island's best chow, music, happy hours, and just all-around vibes wrapped into one package. Go and enjoy their lunch and dinner specials. It's constantly changing, constantly on the move. I can't even keep up with it, but one of my favorite ones that comes up every once in a while is the Calbee spinach wrap. They put some Calbee steak inside a spinach wrap with some is it guacamole wrap? It's a green wrap with some spinach in it, and tomatoes and stuff like that. It's super good. Or you can just do appetizers with a happy hour setting. Up to you. Go check them out now. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and till 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. So no discount codes or anything like that. But I usually give away some stuff monthly. Last month was kind of weird for me to give away stuff, but this month I'll be giving away some stuff. This episode also brought to you by Stroll Guam. Download the Stroll Guam app today. Go to your app store on your Google phone or your Apple phone and download the most convenient, affordable, and safest way to get around the island. They've just launched their delivery service, which includes food delivery and document delivery. Go ahead and use the code MASTERGU, MASTERGU, and save $10 off your next ride. And maybe you're looking for some extra money to make on your own time. Well, Stroll Guam gives you that opportunity to be your own boss, work when you want, get paid weekly through direct deposit, and you can earn up to $800 in a week. So go visit strollguam.com for more info. Don't forget to use the code MASTERGU and save $10 off your next ride. Just like that, MASTERGU. And now, last but not least, of course, Tommy's Pizza, located in the heart of Hagatna City, serving up the best New York style pizza on this island. What makes it the best is not only the ingredients and the food, but it's made with absolute love. I know Tomas. He makes that shit with love. You can get the usual pepperoni, or you can go hard on their specials. They got sweet Italian, the Shroomtown, go for it. Try it out. It's so worth it. They even give slices during lunchtime. Kaboom, kabam, kabam. So check them out, West O'Brien Drive in Hagatna City, or call to order at 922-7437 and go eat good pizza. Now, my next guest on the show is Peter Cruz, all the way in San Diego. He is the guitarist for the band Tribal Theory. They play urban reggae music, and actually it's a certain kind of style that kind of steps away from the reggae sound, but it still brings that sort of reggae island hip hop ish sound. But Pete, really, really cool guy. First time I ever met him, and our conversation, it got pretty deep. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I definitely did. This was one of 4 studios that I sat in the States while I was doing other podcasts. And yeah, check it out, everybody. Master Random. My whole sense of time and space is off.
Yeah.
Like completely off. That's what I was saying. And the whole Google Maps.
Yeah.
I accidentally went to the bike, so I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, 30 minutes. I should at least start getting ready to go. And then I was like, okay, traffic. And then, because I'm over in Point Loma.
Yeah.
And then I looked at my phone again and I was like, whoa, how did the traffic change from 30 minutes to an hour?
Oh, shit.
In 5 minutes, right? Yeah, but it was on the bike setting. And I
got you.
And I didn't figure it out until I was looking at the route. I was like, wait, why is it taking me through like back streets?
Yeah.
You know?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, I almost drove the whole way on back streets. Yeah, but it's yeah, it wasn't bad. It's the traffic is so it's like deceiving, right?
Yeah. It's fairly light.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks heavy, but like it's only so wide.
And when you jump on the 15 too, it's like all the traffic's going back towards town, right?
Yeah, you're going against now because a lot of people from this point on, like this is like the cutoff for like North County.
Okay.
And
So we're
just
north.
Nothing. Right at the very edge of it, because past this is Miramar, that marine station.
Okay.
And then north of that is all the North County like suburb area.
Right.
So you have everybody who kind of converges right here to work in this area or downtown or everywhere else.
Right.
So this is like kind of the worst rush hour south. Going back south. And then everybody comes up here in the morning
to work
from south, or vice versa too, but it's not as bad.
Right, because I noticed the 5 going towards downtown is like really bad too. Or is it the 5?
Yeah. The 5.
Yeah.
The 5 going downtown is bad. Especially south after 5, like rush hour is horrible.
Yeah, man. I was just like trying to time it. I didn't want to get too caught up in the traffic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So have you always been posted up here? I noticed this,
no.
as I was driving up, it was like Island in the Hills.
Yeah.
I was like,
there's a lot of
damn, you know.
There's a lot of Hawaiian people up here. Like
one of my cousins lives like around the way.
Really?
He's like, yeah, I live in Tierra Santa. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I love this spot.
Yeah.
She's been here for a year, but I've been living here for, I don't know, I guess you could say a year. But she's been here for a little over a year. I used to live in this area like 2 years ago, so I kind of move around because San Diego, if you don't own a home, like you have to move.
Right. How long have you been in San Diego alone?
2010, summer 2010. Yeah, so after I graduated, I went to UOG for like a couple years.
Yeah.
And then I came out here to pursue aviation.
Okay.
And then because of I went and got my private pilot license,
right.
And then I went to school for a little bit, and then I just started working. So I've been working at the same job I had since I've been here.
Yeah.
So it's like aviation software. So we do like learning software.
Oh shit! So you're like an engineer then?
Not really. More what I do is more of like support, like customer support.
Do you still fly off?
Man, I haven't flown in like 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So does it does your license become invalid when you stop flying for a certain amount of time, or is it like driving a car?
It's a little different. You are subject to a biennial review every 2 years, which is like you just go up with an instructor who just makes sure that you're proficient in certain things, and then he signs your logbook off, and then you're good. So you got to do that every 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you like keep up the license thing, or?
Man, honestly, I haven't. So what I'll have to do, since it's been so long, I haven't even done a biennial. I have to go take what we call a check ride. So we got to go with like
just to make sure you can still
fly
the shit, right?
Yeah. So probably what people do is when they lapse, they kind of go and spend some money on just training for the hell of it.
Right.
And then they go and do that check ride, and then if you pass that check ride again, then you get signed off. But it's pretty easy. Once you have a license, it's like almost like riding a bike. You just got to go and do the remedial training, which can be a pain in the ass because it's expensive.
Right. Understood.
Expensive, yeah.
All right. Before I go, because I wanted to like segue into like going into tribal theory.
Yeah.
Because the first time I saw them was back in 2010. So I'm trying to figure out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Out here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was staying in LA for a little bit, for maybe like 3 months, and my sister that's the time my sister was down here.
Okay.
And we saw them over at a Wave House.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a show there, and I don't know if you were with them yet. But
no, not yet.
Yeah. That's when they had the other guy, the other singer.
Yeah, they had AJ.
That's right.
And then Dom.
That's right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, before we start going into that, like, where does it all start for you? At least for music, right? Because it seems like, I mean, sitting here in your studio, it's like a setup, and you want to make something happen, and you're bound to make something happen.
Yeah.
And based off of what I've seen off of Spotify, the listens that you guys get, it's like you're there. It's like you guys are on the cusp. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So yeah, where does I guess music start for you?
Like, start as far as like.
As far as you can think of.
Is in the beginning? Oh man.
Has it always been something ingrained in you, classically trained?
That's a good question. If you want to go way back.
Yeah. Let's do it.
As far as music's concerned, I can attest to. The first song I ever remember singing was Saipan from Casey Dillon Guerrero. Like, that was my first song. So that's something that my dad, when that album came out, he would play every day in his truck. So that's what I would revert to when I think of like music as my roots.
Yeah.
Roots. That's like my roots. That's like the first album I've ever like remember or hear in my head when I think of like being a child.
Yeah. Where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Guam, in Hagatna Heights, and that's my dad's side.
Central boy, yeah.
Yeah, that's my dad's side in Hagatna Heights. Like, you pass like the governor's house and turn left into Hagatna Heights, and they have Nana store.
Yeah.
Or old, now it's a new Nana store or whatever. And you turn right like you're going to.
You don't have to
like
tell. You don't have to tell us exactly. Where.
Yeah. No, it's not even there anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was where kind of like my dad's side, my mom's side grew up in like right there near the flea market. So behind the flea market, they have like a farm area.
Right.
It's like my mom's.
Right by the like soccer fields. Behind the soccer fields?
You know where the soccer field is?
Yeah.
There's that pipeline.
Right.
That area on the other side
it.
behind it. Yeah, that's all my family.
Oh, okay.
So that's my mom's side.
So did you mostly grow up like in the central, or?
It was back and forth because when I was like 7 or 8, my dad sold that land.
Okay.
And then family dispersed, like a lot of them moved out here, like his siblings, and then my dad and mom obviously stayed there. So my mom has a house in like Santa Ana, like near Retidium.
Okay.
Where the
I was thinking up there.
Yeah. So like a Gafagumis.
Okay.
Santa Ana.
Yeah.
And then but I spent all my time at my grandpa's house in Dedido.
Okay.
Like, for the most part, but back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so music. So I mean, were you always a singer, an instrument first, singing first?
No, honestly, it's funny because initially my brother would always have like backyard jams, back in my mom's house in Chico. Like she would just like go and he would just invite all his friends and drink in the backyard and jam guitar.
Right.
And
the typical kickback.
Exactly,
Right.
super kickback, but it wasn't like anything like serious.
Right.
But I would always like admire them from like the inside looking out. Like, oh, that's super dope. Like I want to learn how to play guitar because there's something that intrigued me about it.
Right.
My dad bought me a guitar at American Music, and I never touched it. And I said I want to actually play drums, so I picked up drums initially. But the weird thing about it is like with the whole drum thing, I wasn't really like I wasn't good at it, to say the least. I didn't have any like peers like that really play drums, so I just kind of learned by listening. And I played a couple like talent shows at school. I was going to Trinity at the time. I was like maybe in 3rd grade or something. And
oh, so you went all throughout your school career, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. More or less, I've always had an instrument.
Okay.
But I picked up guitar maybe later, like in middle school.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of friends who that play guitar as well, so we always learned off each other. But I didn't take it seriously till I was maybe like 14. Yeah, so that's outside of like adolescent, like coming into like teenage and preteen and older, closer to an adult. Like 14 was when I really took music seriously. Started like listening to like a lot of rock. Like my dad was into like a lot of classic rock. We'd even play like, and I'll tell you, like he would sneak us into like bars that were like like the hole in the wall bars, like Payless, Jigo Payless, yeah, Off Day Exchange, or like Jigo Payless on that little the strip mall there,
right,
that nobody goes to. Maybe a couple like Namku and like your dad or my dad,
the village
yeah,
drunk.
the village drunk, yeah. And he would just get a couple of his coworkers and me and my friends, and we would jam. We didn't know what the hell we were doing, but that was my first taste of like live,
just playing live in front of people.
Yeah, so that, I think, from the beginning to up until the point of taking music seriously, that was like where it was at.
Yeah, with myself, I was like a closet singer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I always
yeah.
sang with myself, by myself, or with people I like absolutely trusted.
Right.
And we're all like, you cannot tell anybody that I sing.
Yeah, same. I would never. I honestly, thinking back then, I would never sing in front of anybody. You wouldn't catch me doing that anytime, anywhere, in front of anybody. It was just like that was like my biggest fear.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that took a long time for me to really get to that point.
Yeah, I think it was about my junior year. I finally I learned enough songs to be like, all right, I can jam maybe like 5 songs for the crew,
Right. Yeah, dude. Even up to today, like I'm kind of shy, like when people are around and we're hanging out and everybody's jamming. Unless I get a couple drinks in me, then that's when I'm down.
Why do you think that is though?
I think it's just because I haven't like had a lot of exposure to being the center of attention vocally. With Tribal Theory and all the bands that I played with in the past, it's always been more or less like backup singing, harmonies, but focusing on guitar. And that I grew up with guitar, so guitar was comfortable for me.
That was like your crutch.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Like if you didn't have it, you'd be like,
exactly.
What do I do with my hands, right?
Exactly, yeah. Like I feel naked, like without the guitar. So even up to this day, like, I think it's just something that you have to, jump in on the deep end, type of thing, like, because I'll always be like shy or nervous around the idea of singing.
Yeah.
But I think it's there, like it's inevitable. But it's going to take some time.
Right.
Yeah, because I've never had that experience of just being forefront.
Like, all right,
spotlight.
Here, Pete, this is your part, bro.
Yeah. Like, never.
You're up.
Yeah, and I've attempted it, but to be honest with you, it's nerve-wracking. So you just gotta find that comfortable.
Right, but it's kind of funny because that's what brought you into music, was singing. The song.
Yeah,
right?
and that's funny. Yeah, that's a good point, because it wouldn't have been if it wasn't for that album and listening to it over and over again and singing it. I probably would not have the courage to, one, even sing, period, like when it even comes to like backup singing, but two, like do what I'm doing now,
right.
you know, like focusing on a lot of like personal projects.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, I would, till this very day, I will attest it to that one time in the truck singing some Casey jams in the car, you know, with my dad.
So you were never classically trained. You were more jam band trained.
Yeah, never.
Tabs.
Yeah.
Looking up tabs on the internet and stuff.
Tabs.
Tropical Storm Hawaii.
Oh my god, that was my jam, man.
Dude,
oh.
I was so mad when that thing went away.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened to the website? Is the internet down?
Yeah.
Who's on the internet?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that website was always, or pretty much always updated.
Always, bro. I remember it too, yeah.
Because I got into ook for a little bit too, and so that was like our go-to. That was in between guitar and everything. Like there's, you know, we played ook at school and stuff like that, and yeah, that was my jam. That, Ultimate Guitar, just a bunch of random guitar websites.
Yeah.
Bought a lot of books. A lot of it was also like, you know, learning through our peers. So like I'd have friends at school who learned, or you know, how to do something, and then I learned something and we trade ideas. I was lucky enough to have like a guitarist teacher at school. He was my math teacher.
Okay,
so it was cool. We would always talk about stuff in school, but never classically trained ever. I mean, yeah, no. Come to think of it, never, man.
Yeah, I know. So how many hours do you think before you felt like you were proficient in playing guitar? How many hours do you think you were putting in during that time? You know, how many hours were you spending with your friends compared to actually putting time into learning music? Because it seems like right after you left Guam, or before you left Guam, you were in a band called Table for Five.
Yeah.
And you guys were hitting it. Right?
Yeah, man.
And before we go there, you know, it's like, so how much time do you think you were putting in to get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm ready, or I can play a lead in front of people?
Right.
Yeah.
Good question. I don't know if I ever knew when that time was. It was kind of more like, again, just kind of jumping in.
Right.
I can remember bringing a guitar to school, and I can specifically remember sitting outside our chapel, because I went to a Christian school, or it was a Christian school, Trinity was a Christian school,
Right.
and my friend was just jamming like a blues like progression, and then I had remembered learning a scale, and he taught me that scale, and then he gave me the book that taught more scales. So he was playing, and I was like, whatever, let's try it, and it sounded cool. So I just kind of built on that experience, and like that whole summer, I had to be like maybe 6th or 7th grade. I spent that whole summer like just learning that book, and after that, it was almost second nature, like jamming out with friends at school. I also had like a jam band with my dad's coworkers on Anderson. So they would have like this warehouse. Bro, it was like a warehouse, like I forget what the warehouse was, but it was like a supply warehouse.
Go ahead.
And they had like this room that was empty, so they would just jam out like every Friday night. And it was cool because it was just an empty office. Everybody was cool with it, and that's kind of where I learned too, because this guitarist was like a really proficient guitarist.
Yeah.
And then before Table for Five, I was also, my very first girlfriend, her dad was in a rock band, so at like 15, 16, I was playing in a cover rock band. We played at like Sumai Grill and stuff like that.
You were like the ideal boyfriend, right? Like, oh, your boyfriend plays music?
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Bring him in.
His dad, her dad like loved me, but it was just a very interesting relationship.
Right.
As far as like the whole family like dynamic was interesting.
Right.
But yeah, I think to answer your question, I think it was just, I want to say after I learned that book, and it was like a tab scale book, just going to school every day, and like every time somebody played a progression, like I felt comfortable. So after that, it was kind of like it slowly built up to just a natural thing.
And it's not like you would just play it at home and then it disappears for the rest of your life. until you go home. You go home, then you go to school, and it's there.
Yep.
And you kind of go home again, and it's still there.
Yep.
So it was, your life was revolving around it.
Yeah.
Unknowingly, right?
Right. Yeah. Almost 110%. Because only slowly was like YouTube like getting into, you know, becoming like a, you know, major social media platform.
This was around 2006.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So early in 2000, you know, 2 to 6, like all you had was your TV and your music, your instrument, you know.
Right.
So I was glued to my guitar, man, like completely glued. Every day, every night, I spent a couple hours, maybe an hour or two. Then at school, we'd play at lunch and this and that. And it's different now, you know. We live busy lives, and I try to find the same kind of time, but it's hard. But yeah, man, I miss those days.
Like if YouTube and Instagram was around during that time, right? It would have been maybe a little easier to.
Yeah. I think it has to do with age too.
Okay.
You know, like being younger and not being subjected to like all that social media crap. My parents were not necessarily strict, but they were like, they wanted me to, you know, be around certain good things, you know. So I didn't
kind of pointed your head in the direction it needed to be.
Exactly. So, yeah, I didn't really like dabble in anything bad. It's just like, hey, here's your instrument, you know, do what you want to do, and like, you always bring your friends over, they're more than welcome. And that's kind of where it was natural. Like it just, that's what I wanted to do. Like I knew that's what my more or less my calling was, like to play music, whether it be on a grand scale. Or,
how old were you?
I think I realized that like at 13, 12 or 13.
It's a pretty young age to sort of find yourself in that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, and of course it wasn't like definitive.
Yeah, for sure.
I've questioned it billions of times, but I knew it was a part of me. Like I've always looked, my goal was like to join a band. Remember the Castro Boys?
Yeah, I do.
So I remember I can remember one time we went to Chamorro Village on a Wednesday night, and they were playing, you know, where Jamaican Girls, they used to have that makeshift stage.
Yeah, it's still there.
Is it still there?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So they were jamming out there one night, and like I just got like this fire inside of me. I was like, dude, I want to do this. Like everybody was loving it. So that, I think that was when I saw it, and I had to be 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Because they had that album, it was like they had a song about Chatan or something like that.
Yes.
Something like that, right? So that was around the time, I think, when the Typhoon and all that, 2002, 2003, I was 13, 12, 13. That was, I think, when the fire like lighted inside me. Like I wanted to do music, like in one way or another. Like I wanted to be a part of my life forever.
Right.
So,
and is this sort of around the time that Table for Five started to come around?
no, Table didn't come. I don't think Table came till I was about 17.
Okay.
Yeah. In between that time and then Table, there was a lot of metal. So I did a lot of like rock and metal, like heavy metal, like death metal and stuff like that with my peers, and a lot of them from FD. Sorry.
Right.
That, and I still, like, these guys are like my best friends, and we've played in reggae bands together and this and that.
First person that comes to mind, metal turn reggae, is Freddie.
Yeah, exactly. So funny enough is Freddie, and I'm sure everybody knows Freddie from Four Piece, is Freddie originally was in a band called Hymn for the Tortured, which was like a death metal band.
Right.
I met Freddie, I don't know, through MySpace or something, just randomly one day.
MySpace.
And they invited me to hang out with everybody. I got to meet all his friends and his peers in the metal scene, so then I had started bands with other people and so on and so forth. And from then on, you know, we grew older and we kind of, not necessarily grew out of it, but just wanted to do other music and go back to our roots, more or less, you know, like island reggae music. Freddie and I were the ones that kind of separated from that metal scene. Together, yeah.
Into the sunset. It's like,
yeah,
Freddie, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like a perfect setting, right? Like a sunset into the reggae sunset. But yeah, Freddie, he hit up Danny Agar, one of our good friends, and he had like some other cats who were playing music with them at the time. And he's like, hey, we want to start a reggae band. And he's like, I know Peter wants to play, or I know Peter could play guitar, and at the time I wasn't like really down, but he convinced me to do it. Yeah, and so we started that band, and we just had kind of like people from the metal scene came in and out, which was kind of funny because that's like that was like our whole crew was like reggae and metal. You know,
right.
Two different ends of the spectrum, but we were all in the same crew. But yeah,
someone has to do it, guys. Come on.
Yeah. And what's cool is like that's what I think made Table for Five what it was. Is we had that background of rock that made us like want more out of like the reggae sound. We wanted it to be like more progressive.
Right, I'm sure it changed it too, right? Instead of that more rootsy sound.
Right.
I wasn't on Guam when you guys were hitting your sort of like peak, right?
Yeah.
I know you guys hit your peak and then like disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it's I didn't move back to Guam until 2010. So from 2005 to 2010,
you were
I was
out
just
here.
like out here, and I think that's when everything was sort of going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was more or less the
years.
Those were the years. 2000. I want to say 2007 was when we started, and we were doing a lot of good things. Like, we were just playing songs that people weren't playing. But then you had the greats. You had Rebel Lion. You had DUB still playing. Like, the scene was amazing. Like, when it came to reggae, like, that was like the golden age of like.
You think so?
I absolutely believe so. That the golden age of reggae in Guam, as far as cover music, was between that time. And I'm not saying it's because of Table for Five, but just everybody that was involved in the scene was so passionate about what they were doing. I guess, it was between that time and like now, like it's crazy. Yeah. I guess it's crazy because like when I think about it and I go back, like it just doesn't have that same feel, but I know it's there. It's just like waiting to like happen.
I think
You know what I mean?
I think why you're feeling that way is because now over the last 8 years, right? I've been on Guam for 8 years, and I've sort of watched the music scene. I was in the music scene for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
Just playing out at the bars and stuff like that, and I was writing my own music, but in 2015, or 14, 15, all of a sudden, people are finding themselves in the sense that, first Acoustic Attack. Ryan Bustamante was like
great,
helping these people, people who were scared to come out of the woodworks,
right?
Like completely come out and just share whether it's cover music or original music. And then you had 3 or 4 albums come out in 2015. I believe it was 4 Pieces' first album.
Yeah.
And it was 4 Pieces' first album. I think came out in 2014. And then you had the John Dank show. Then you had the Dolls. And then you had oh my gosh, there's someone I'm missing. Is it the Matala album that came out around that time?
But
I think so. Maybe why you're not feeling like how it was back then, that sort of golden age, is because we're re-identifying ourselves with music, right?
I think
does that kind of
I was just gonna say that. I completely agree. Because
people spend so much time playing cover music.
Exactly.
And trying to develop their sound over another sound, that now people are becoming more, or maybe you can give it pay dues to technology. Yeah. And the fact that it's so easy to just plug into a Mac or plug into a computer and just record your shit. And I think that's what I feel like is happening. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not like a music expert or anything like that, but it's towards from 2010 to 2014, that sort of cover music thing was still going on. You go out to the bar and that's all you hear.
Yeah, that's true.
And people are appreciating it. But now people are looking to like write their own music, and so like people are like, "Whoa, what is this? Well, hold up, I'm not familiar with this."
I agree.
And that's where I find the lack of appreciation for music on Guam is.
I agree.
Like comes into play too, not from the musicians and the people who like music, but from the entire masses of Guam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like unbelievable that you hear some music, but like, whoa, this is Guam, Dad?
Yeah.
This guy's from Guam?
Yeah.
It's like, well, why are you surprised?
Exactly. No, I completely agree. And you know, like the whole golden age thing is, I think it was, you could also test that term to, you know, just like vibe too. You know, everybody was going out a lot more, and then I guess also, I feel like
the
that was
drinking age was 18.
Yeah. So it was a different time.
Yeah.
It was completely different time.
Definitely a whole different era, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that I couldn't be more proud than what people who are still on Guam doing with music now.
Yeah.
And I can see that because that's probably why a lot of the times when I was there, people didn't write original music because there wasn't an appreciation for it. You know, people, I think, and not just in the Chamorro community, but also in the Islander community in general.
Just Guam, right?
Yeah, people are comfortable. They like what they know, and they don't want to go outside of that.
Of course, yes.
I think one artist that I can see that I've seen playing out here for many years is you can't go to a Fiji show without it being either sold out or close to being sold out, because these people will support him no matter what, because they love his music.
Right.
And he's made all these hits, and they're comfortable
and
with.
He can sing "Oh Sweet Darling"
a billion times, and it'd be the same reaction over and over again. It's like they heard it for the first time.
Yeah.
And so that's yeah, and it could be the culture out here that maybe they grew up with that too, so that's what they know. But like, I also think too in Guam, the problem is we're so competitive by nature that when it comes to music, not one do you have the competitiveness in the scene, but it's weird. I think sometimes it's almost like scary for certain people to believe that, oh, this is something coming out of Guam. Like, it's hard to believe that because and like you said, why are you shocked? Why are you shocked that it's coming out of Guam?
Right.
We're not capable of making amazing music or doing amazing things, dance,
any
television,
of the arts, right?
Any of the arts. So I think it's something that's instilled within our culture for a long time that is we can break it. You know?
Well, yeah, I think just going along your thought is that we've been fed everything that we've consumed. It was fed to us,
right?
Not anything that we've grown ourselves, right?
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
As far as like culture, subcultures, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be music, art, everything that we saw, we were seeing from the outside.
Yeah.
And now that the world's a little flatter, right? Now it's more blended. You can't even tell anymore.
That's true. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. Really, like something that we grow ourselves. It's such a great analogy.
Yeah, it's a renaissance that's sort of happening back home in the sense for any kind of art. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, look how many graffiti artists there are now. Look how many painters and drawers and musicians and just media makers. Look at the videos that are coming out of the dang place, you know? And what I'm finding is there's a disconnect, right? Between now that we're sort of Guam's kind of sort of creating its identity in the island, but there's still an identity out here that people are still not holding onto, but trying to uphold.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
And I feel like there has been a disconnect to where how can we support Chamorros that are out here or Guamanians that are out here and vice versa? How are Guamanians able to support those who are on Guam, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know where that thought was going, but it's sort of tricky when you come to really think about just the development of the arts, right? The Festpac happened. People were like, "Oh shit, we want to be more Chamorro," right? But then you have Chamorros out here. I just talked to Joe Danzy last week. Joe Danzy's born and raised in Hayward, California. Yeah. And he says, all Chamorros Chamorros, right? if you're born and raised out here, your only connection would be to be a Chamo,
Right.
technically.
Right.
Yeah, it's so weird how those lines get blurred.
Yeah. that's a very like
Right.
touchy subject with
Right.
people.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's an honest and real
Yeah.
fact.
I
right?
agree. Yeah.
And he said, I'm trying to connect to there,
Right.
but I can't find it. You know, I'm like sort of having a hard time through certain channels, or what I'm representing ain't what Guam represents, right?
Yeah.
So do you find like the music that you're do you find that the music that you're making out here sort of like represents a culture that you understand? Yes, you're born and raised on Guam, you grew up on Guam, but you've spent the last
8 years.
8 years here in the States, and now your understanding of the culture has evolved, right?
Right.
And so do you worry that maybe people on Guam would misunderstand what you're trying to represent of what is Guam culture? I mean, because you're not necessarily trying to fully promote Guam culture, right? I mean, you still want to stylistically be yourself as an artist.
Of course, yeah.
But as soon as someone hears he's from Guam, hey, that's not what Guam is.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's a good question. Well, what I've been recently doing, since I've been focusing on producing and learning my craft in a production standpoint, I've been doing a lot of covers. So just for the hell of it, and
I just watched the one you just posted up.
Right. So the reason why I do the covers is not to promote those bands or those songs. They're obviously songs I like, but the main reason why I focus on that is it's a tool that helps me build my my craft as far as production, mixing, and recording and doing everything the right way.
Right.
Writing your own music, it's not as easy as it is to take a song that's already made. We all know that, but that's something that I find that is my number one passion, is to write my own original music.
Right.
Like I've done with Tribal Theory and stuff like that.
Oh wait, so you write some of Tribal Theory's music, but you don't sing them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's not where my head was at, or my heart was with Tribal Theory.
Okay.
Really ever. It was more or less guitar and the musicality.
Right. Okay. Yeah, not to veer. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. What was I trying to say?
I was asking about your evolution of how you understand the culture now that you've been, that you've been out here, and if it affects your craft stylistically, right?
Perfect.
Because you have to, because maybe you want people on Guam to sort of attach to to the things that you're making.
Right. So with that, with the covers that I've been doing, just as a source to build my craft and production, I made videos just for the fun of it, and I put it out there in the fields, and I put it out on Facebook and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, like the Chamorro community, the Palauan community, the whole entire Micronesian Chukis and Yappies, and all the entire community has been so receptive of that. Yeah. And what's interesting is that yes, they are covers, but they're done in my own style. But the style comes from what I've learned being back home. Like all my style, the way I play music, I attest that to what I learned being in bands back home, what we learned from each other, like Table for Five and everything else. So to answer your question, I mean, I don't think it affects me personally, because I sit down here and I'm writing something. I'm not worried about what anybody else thinks. I'm focused on what I like.
Yeah.
But behind all of that, and the number one thing behind all of that is like I want to represent my island and my culture the best way I can, but I'm going to do it the way I know how best to do it. And so far, I've got nothing but just good remarks. And you have those people who it's not their thing, and that's fine. I get it. But I think I see where the disconnect with that is for me personally, or Tribal Theory, for example,
Right.
is
Okay.
is when we write music out here, like Tribal Theory is not. You can't say Tribal Theory is a full-on reggae band. We play rock, we play R&B, we do a lot of other things that aren't.
Let me just throw in, you guys' performance style is really, really good, bro. I really enjoyed watching you guys live.
Thanks, man.
Just the energy that you guys bring, dude, is and to me, for music, that's what's extremely important, bro.
Showmanship,
Showmanship, and if you're able to put on, if you're just standing there like, chaka, 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 you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you have Rudy fucking walking across the stage to
Rudy sweating off his
sweating
face.
and flipping his hair, you know, and it's you can feel the energy, bro,
exactly.
coming from the stage. And I think Guam's crowd, it didn't seem like people were receptive of it.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, but that's just the way Guam is.
Yeah.
They like they just stand there, you know. It's like, this is good shit. You know?
Yeah.
This pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just what it is. It's not like they don't like it. It may have looked like people weren't vibing to it, but I was looking in the crowd. I was like, shit, people are vibing, but you just need that one crazy person.
Yeah. And
too bad it was a Howley person. Like, I don't want to follow the Howley guy. Waiting for the local guy to start dancing, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. And
not to say, sorry, bro. Not to say that you guys aren't liked in Guam. That's not
right.
That's not what I meant to
of
say.
course.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
I know it was sort of coming off like that.
No, not at all. But I think my point is that we make music that is not necessarily attached to the status quo as far as what people from Guam or musicians that have grown up through the ages know what Guam music is. I don't think it's fair to say this is Guam music because everybody's kind of different.
Yeah.
But I think we want to say that we are making our own music, and then eventually it will, the culmination of all we can relate to. You know how like Hawaii has Hawaiian reggae? Guam's gonna have its kind of music, but to like pigeonhole it right now is a bad time because, like you said, we're all growing and becoming
sort of identifying.
So
identifying the music.
So that's, I guess, where my segue to that was. Tribal Theory is slowly evolving, or has slowly evolved throughout the years, to where a lot of people can relate to music from stateside or Chamorro music, or people who are, you know, biggest demographic of Tribal Theory is Chamorro people. That's a fact. So I think that's part of the equation there with the identity is we kind of are one of the ingredients in that mix. Now with the new music that we're coming out with, I feel like it's the same. It's people are going to be receptive, and I wanted to make a comment too on the fact that you said, you know, when you go and you live show and we're jamming out and all this, and people are like, But with that too, I feel like, so in 2016 we did like this high school thing. We did a high school tour thing. That was amazing.
And you guys just came out with like a song, right?
Yeah.
Stuck in the Middle, right? It was around that time?
A little bit after that. But we had like some original music coming out, but or new music coming out, but I think that was one of the reasons why Tribal Theory is so successful is because of that. The high school kids and like the kids in general, you know, like the youth and like the generation coming up, and to relate to the comment about playing shows and people just like, oh, what the fuck is this, you know, this and that. Playing there for the Liberation Carnival. What I could tell from the crowd was that because of those kids that were there who were either saw us at that high school thing or heard about us somehow through their peers or where it may be, they were the reason why that crowd was so live. And we've never played a show in Guam. I've never played a show in Guam that I felt that much energy from the crowd. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like dead. Right.
But there was definitely people standing there. But the energy that you guys were putting out, I felt like I was standing there. I was like, fuck, I'm feeling the energy. Like, you guys are feeling this.
Right. And so I think we have to give a lot of credit to the kids and the youth, because for me, like, you won't necessarily see me at a show going crazy. Like, yes, I'm like there and I love the music, but it's not really in my style to like go crazy and this and that. But maybe that's changing. Maybe it's a part of the shift. And with the identity that we're finding, as whether it be as a spectator or as a whole, as the art community, I think the kids have like a lot to play into that.
Yeah, man. There was a shitload of people mouthing the words, and singing along and screaming and cheering. Right?
It's crazy. It's crazy, and I think too, and this is kind of off spectrum, but you see it with the EDM community. You see all these kids who go out to festivals off island, like in Asia and this and that, and like it's a solid, tight knit community, always carrying the Guam flag everywhere. Right. There's pictures of the Guam flag, and
Ben shifts the
Ben, and Ben is killing it. And I think that's what we need, is that we need that community in music, and I think it's our generation and a lot of the kids too that are really pushing that change and the idea of like music that used to, remember, covers and go out, watch a cover band, call it a day.
Right.
But now you have like this community that is gung-ho about Guam in itself and the creators, and then also, and when I say creators, that even goes for people who are throwing shows.
Yeah,
too,
I mean, I feel like the most passionate audience that I've seen thus far doesn't come from the reggae community music lovers. It comes from the rock community music lovers.
Yeah, I agree.
Every rock show that I've been to on Guam is completely fucking wild.
Yeah.
I went to Moistland for the first time this year.
Man, those were good.
And dude, that's a wild show, man. And they're like, yeah, we've been throwing this for years. I was like, what the hell, dude?
I remember.
It's like in like the backyard, the backwoods of Jigo, right?
I remember like the first couple Moistlands, like back in the day, like just fresh out of high
13 years, I think. 13 years they said they've been throwing it.
Yeah, that's wow. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, but I remember we had it like once in like some house in Laddie Heights, one time in like Orda. Yeah, Moistland is legit, and the rock community is amazing.
Yeah, man. Even when you go to Livehouse, even though they're seeing their friends play, they're like inches from the stage.
Yeah.
Fucking like screaming at their friend's face. And then they get into a mosh, and then and I feel like if the appreciation for the music and the community of music is like that for everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you can go to a bar today and watch a reggae band at a bar, and people will act the same.
Right.
It's like too cool for school kind of deal. Yeah.
That is.
It's like stand on the side in the corner on the dark and like just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good band, man.
Solid, yeah. Sounds good. Okay. All right. Appreciate it, bro. All right, I'm out. Yeah, but it's funny, too, that you mentioned that, because when we were playing rock shows, even at Livehouse, it was when you'd left, like after you left and you were out here for 5 years, like that was still the attitude in high school when you played at shows. People were always involved, and I think the whole community has to look at that scene and take notes, because to really support your artists is to support them like the way the rock community in Guam does.
Yeah.
And I think to really, have a footprint as far as our music scene in general, regardless of the genre, if they follow that trend of supporting your local bands like that. And I've seen so many local shows have been thrown in the last 5 years for these rock bands. It's amazing. Fat Tofu.
Just in the last year, dude.
Yeah, the long live shows, right? And stuff like that is amazing.
Yeah, Jordan Hardy's doing some amazing shit with Binary Sunset.
Right, yeah.
To all his crew.
Yeah, those guys are amazing. And I think everybody needs to take notes, because that's going to take the entire art community to the next level. And they're doing it.
Yeah, they are.
And I see it.
It's brewing.
Yeah.
It's definitely brewing.
So and I do take notes, man. Like I look at that and I'm like, that's, and sooner or later, 4 Pieces doing it already.
Right.
The rest of the people that are in Guam creating anything are gonna do the same thing.
Yeah, John Dank's show got their taste maybe like a couple years ago.
Yeah. Saw them out here. Yeah, it was great. Man, it was a packed house when they played down here in San Diego. It was an amazing show.
I guess if the ticket prices weren't so damn expensive, right? We just need a billionaire tomorrow to just own an airline, and that's all he does is fly out, out people to.
Can you imagine? I would be home like every other week.
$100 trips.
Yeah. Low cost carrier. Meal, nothing. I will pay that just to go home.
Yeah. Sticker might be coming off the side of the plane, but it's
cool.
Okay. We're going home.
Cool. As long as the plane works and the pilot's good, let's go. Man.
Right. How has playing out here, at least since you started playing with Tribal Theory, sort of evolved your music or evolved your sense of what you want to do with music?
I guess tribal theory has shown me a lot. It's shown me discipline. It's shown me patience, a lot of patience. And then there's a lot of stuff outside of that too, like, just just paying attention to your craft. Because out here there's a lot of competition. You're just another fish in the pond. Like, if you don't stick out, then you're done.
For sure.
Yeah. So
sure.
It's taught me to be creative and unique, and to really pay attention to the craft, because if you're not,
how many bands are you going up against?
Yeah.
Here, right.
Really, what sets you apart from thousands of other bands?
Right.
And that's something that we still struggle with, I think. But it's just a matter of kind of having faith in in what you're doing,
and the fan base, right?
Right. Yeah, the fan base is like number one.
Yeah.
But also, I think what it's also really taught me is that it's bigger than just music. Music is what drives us, but there's a lot of back end stuff that matters, especially out here. If you want to get on a show and you want to be seen, especially with the social media environment nowadays, it's so hard to be like pushed to the side.
Right. They just look at your followers and like, well.
Yeah. And not only that, but like algorithmically. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Algorithmically, with the way social media is set up, it's so hard to be in the spotlight anymore. You just had everything regular. So it's taught me that a lot of business aspects of the thing is...
It's a complete bigger monster than just playing at the bar
and
hoping, Jigo, right?
Right. And then hoping that you have a following. It's marketing. It's investing money. You have to invest money and time. It's having a team behind you. It's, and obviously everything behind it, paying attention to your craft and standing out. Yeah. So, it's a lot harder than just playing music.
Right. It's, I can see it as being sort of, how do I say this? I mean, you go from being like, yeah, you can just play to trying to convince people, and I'm sure that'll bring self-doubt as to how creative that you think that you possibly are, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, if you feel like nobody's biting,
right,
and you're doing the best you can, there's nothing worse than that.
In your tenure with Tribal Theory, I mean, have you ever found? Did you guys ever find sort of like a downturn that you sort of had to pull yourself out of? And what did you guys do stylistically to change whatever needed to be changed? Or I mean, I know I'm asking you to speak collectively for
sure.
the entire group, but also but I guess also from your viewpoint, right?
Yeah.
How did you see any? It doesn't have to be any particular downturn, but how did you guys sort of handle maybe a drought and we're not getting gigs, or we're not writing the album we want to write, or the music's not coming out the way we want it to sound?
Yeah. So early January to April, we did a nationwide tour with what was it? The Expendables.
Right.
And that kind of just set us apart from like doing anything, whether it would be stuff personally or doing things. You're good.
Yeah, gotta do it.
No worries. Doing stuff like personally, like on our personal time, like lives with our family, friends, you name it.
Right.
So
how long was that?
4 months.
Oh, 4 months.
January to April.
Okay.
On the road, just playing music.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a good chunk out of your year. It's a third of your year.
Yeah.
And after that, so there was so much momentum built because that was our first nationwide tour that we just came off a EP from the year previously.
Okay.
We were playing that for a while, and then we hit the tour.
Wait, did you say what year this was?
2017.
17. Oh, just
So,
last year.
Last year, a little
Right,
over
right,
a year now.
right. The EP was Reclamation?
Reclamation was in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016.
So the...
In
which
March
album?
2016. And then so we did all the touring. We went to Guam end of 2016. Then we went on tour with the Expendables for 4 months.
Okay.
Nationwide.
Right.
So there's so much momentum built from Guam and that tour. We came back and we wanted to write music.
Yeah.
Now with Tribal Theory, it's not hard to find gigs. You know what I mean? Like we can always find a gig, whether it be here or there.
Right.
That's not a problem. But the biggest, I think, the downfall was that we let that momentum die, and we didn't continue touring. Which we should have done.
Like picked up a tour right after the tour?
Right after, and that would have been, and it's not touring on your own. It's supporting bigger artists. That's what you want to do. That's how you grow.
That's how you get your foot in the door, right?
Exactly. You want to make that relationship. It's all about networking, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it should have been done, and it didn't happen. But we said, you know what, we're gonna focus on the album. So we wrote this whole album, full-length album, done. And so that's where we're at now. Is a year later, we finished the album like last November.
Right.
And there's all these logistics of releasing the album. We were talking about being on labels. We've had offers from labels. We've been talking about campaigning it, putting it with publishers and this and that, and like getting it on certain platforms so that it shines.
Right.
It's not just another album like, bloop, there it is.
Right.
Hope you like it.
Yeah.
Hopefully people listen to it.
Yeah.
We've done that, and that's not fun. So that's where we're at. And like, to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know exactly what the outcome of it's going to be right now, because we just had our last show 2 weeks ago here at San Diego Belly Up. And our next actual big show, I don't think isn't until like January.
Okay.
And that's probably the biggest.
It's a lot of downtime.
Yeah, a lot of downtime. So that's where I'm at. Really, like personally, I can't speak on the behalf of everybody else, but
Right.
I'm at a point where I love what I do with the band, and I want to grow and I want to see them grow. But I think we're all at a point in our lives where we need to decide what we're going to do. And if this album doesn't hit, then, obviously we need to make some decisions.
Right. Is it an all in or?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
More or less. And that's not to scare anybody or let anybody down. But
Right,
that's
or lead anybody on, right?
Right, exactly. That's just
Yeah.
the nature of music, is that nothing is guaranteed.
Right.
So we're at this point where we want the album to do well, but we got to do it right. And there's a lot of logistics behind it, and there's a lot of people with their hands in the pot that we need to make sure that all these people that are touching this thing are doing it right. So we're at the point where we just want to make sure that we as a band, the people who created the music, oversee everything, and then put it in the hands of people that we can trust, and then hopefully they do their job.
Hopefully, right?
Hopefully, that's a problem. Is like you can only do so much as a band.
Here we go.
Yeah. Please, here's my baby. Please. I hope you have enough food to feed him, because you're adopting him now. You know what I mean, more or less. But yeah,
Don't let the baby die.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
But and that's coming from me personally. I want to see it grow, and I want to see it blossom and do good things.
Yeah, because you're still an artist yourself.
Right. And outside of Tribal Theory, I still have my own individuality. There's things that I want to do for myself, which I'm working on. But I don't want to let any of that, shadow what we're doing.
Right, for sure. I mean, it's just downtime, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like anything detrimental that you're gonna, or anything that you do is gonna be detrimental to the band, because it's not during the same timeline, right? So,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Is that why you've been sort of touching with social media more, putting yourself out there musically?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, you're playing all the instruments yourself,
Right.
It's like,
yes and no. Again, I do it because I want to learn.
Okay.
That's my main goal, is to learn. But also, yes, I don't want to. I think like we individually have built a rapport with everybody. are fans.
Yeah.
People like people in the band because they do certain things well and they have a certain personality, and I think that goes for me too. Like, but I don't want to lose that rapport with the people that appreciate what I do. So I want to keep giving them content because we're media hungry. Like, we always want something. We always have to have something in front of us.
For sure, man.
Something
new,
I mean,
consistency with this podcast. You know, I'm out here.
Exactly.
I'm out here for work, and I'm just like, shit, I can't like be out here and not do something.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah,
And too much downtime. And the attention. You worry about the attention span of people too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, after 2 weeks, you disappear for 2 weeks. You're like, well, what happened to that guy?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Exactly.
And that's the fear, even though maybe that's not necessarily what's going to happen, but if you're putting out, as content creators, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to have that consistency so people can expect, oh shit, something's coming out soon.
Right. Yeah.
This guy's good. He's doing something. We haven't heard from everybody collectively, but each one of them is still busy.
Right. Relevancy is paramount.
Fuck, it's so crazy.
Relevancy is so paramount, and I hope that what I'm doing reflects well on Tribal Theory, and people will follow Tribal Theory because of it. And that's a goal in a sense. But I'm also doing it for myself because I love to write music.
Right. I think even one of the covers you did was your own song, right? You guys' own song?
Yeah, we have done that. Yeah.
So the one you do by yourself, and then you.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, that's the goal, and I mean, where I'm at with that is, ultimately, I think my end goal when it comes to music is I just want to be able to create nonstop, and give people something, whether they like it or not, whether I make money off of it or not. Like, I enjoy coming here at the end of the day and sitting in front of this computer and picking up a guitar or messing with a piano or something, bass, you name it. But that's a goal, man. Like, really, it's just, we hope that this album takes off, and we have high hopes for it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, then we keep rolling with it, man. Along. Yeah. So that's where it's at. Yeah. Tribal Theory wise. Right. For me, I don't know. Presently, my goal is by end of year, I want to write a demo and probably have an EP and just do like some kind of solo fun side project, you know, all original stuff, and then just kind of build on the idea of Guam as a unit, building that identity, and hopefully I can add my flavor into that too.
Yeah, man, I'm sure there are many Guam artists who are looking for a connection throughout just stateside, right? Guam musicians. Chamorro and Guam musicians, right? And you don't necessarily have to leave station.
You don't. I mean, a good one is mutual friend is Joe Guam.
Okay.
Joe Guam. Yeah. Amazing dude. I met him back in Guam, but I've seen all his stuff on social media, and it's because he puts content out. Yeah. And that's another guy. Is his name's Josh Namalag. He's from Saipan. Okay. And he does a bunch of Chamorro music and Micronesian music on YouTube, and is amazing at what he does. Austin Serlu, who lives in LA, he's another cat that does YouTube videos, and we want to create content for the people that have access to it and may not see it otherwise.
Yeah. Oh shit, dude. Maybe a really good idea is to, what you do with your. You ever seen oh my gosh, they've played One Love. And they get different artists from different parts of the world.
Oh, I see. Yeah. There was like
what is it called? Dude?
There was a Hawaiian video of that too. Okay. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, but I know what you're saying. It's just like a different.
They even did Sitting on the Dock of the Babe. Otis Redding's, right?
It's like everybody's singing a part of the song. Yeah. And it just keeps moving throughout the world. Yeah.
Right. I mean, what if you can get different musicians from up and down the West Coast to do the same thing? That's a great idea. Sort of like mesh and it'll sort of give people an idea of what people are doing out here musically. Right.
Yeah, so that's a good point. And I've talked about that, and I talked about with these guys, and especially Joe too, like I see what he's doing back home, and he's constantly playing music, and I love it, man.
Yeah, he broke it going live. I was like, dude, genius, bro.
Genius.
Like playing, he's like, dude, I just play a live show online.
Yeah, because everybody else can see you out there,
Yeah. He's like, I do it at the restaurants anyway. I might as well just do it online. And dude, the reception that he got was this crazy.
Yeah.
And to where people wanted to do stuff with him or messaging him like, hey, I'm all the way over here listening to you right now.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and you're talking about like videos too that we've posted. I posted one with Josh and Austin. I just played guitar and I'm not singing. They did all the production, but that thing's over 100,000 views on. And that's not in relation to everything else on YouTube. It's not a lot, but that to us personally, that's like pretty huge.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Especially in our community.
Because you know the people, a lot of the people who are watching it are people who have connections to
Exactly.
Guam, whether they're Chamorro or not.
Or not, yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, yeah, man, I think we're, like you said, in such a great point in this whole conversation is the whole identity thing. Whether it be from what you learned in the past as a cover musician or what you're doing now as a touring musician or somebody who is at home creating, like, we all kind of throw our own little spice into the ingredients.
Right. Or born and raised and knows the culture.
Yeah.
Right? Just bringing up Joe Danzy again, one thing that he really hit me hard with was the fact that he said, I'm representing the Guam culture that I know.
Yeah.
I've never been to Guam.
Yeah.
But this is Chamorro. This is the Chamorro culture that was taught to me.
Right.
You know, and how can you sort of hate on that?
You cannot.
Yeah, right?
You cannot. But I think it's also our duty to also share what we know as people who were raised on the island too, and not in a condescending way.
Right.
We have to.
Like, no, you're wrong.
Right. Yeah, and that's the problem. Is like a lot of times is like. You post, oh, somebody called me Guamanian, I'm Chamorro, or somebody called me Chamorro, or that boy said he's Guamanian, you've never been to Guam. Like, dude, that's such a heated topic, but like, we get it, you know? We get it. But let's all like...
It's a complicated relationship.
It is, but we're all like one way or another either tied to, born and raised on Guam, or Chamorro by blood, or have some relation, period. I think we should be bringing each other up.
Right.
You know, regardless if you were born there or not, we're all the same blood. You know, we're all the same. You know, we all come from the same roots. So,
yeah, man.
Music or not,
just doing interviews out here, and it's really opening my eyes and my perspective. I have 2 more up in LA, 3, potentially 3, but
yeah,
and 2 of them are born and raised out here.
Okay.
Or no, one of them's born and raised out here, and one's born on Guam, went to school on Guam, and he's out here. Yeah, 2 of them, right? So it's like just from talking to Joe, talking to you, it's like my perspective on just being out here and what it takes to like, what it takes to still not lose a certain identity.
Yeah.
Right? Because even when people come out here, there's sort of an identity crisis. It's like, fuck, I thought I was from Guam, I thought I was Chamorro, but apparently I'm not, you know? I mean, all the way from language, you know? It's like, shit.
Yeah.
And then that's why I brought up Festpac. It was like, there was this like renaissance that people want to sort of get to, not sort of, but now really want to get to know the culture, or what culture is, or what does culture mean to me, or what is the definition of what the culture is now.
Yeah.
And of course it's changed. I've brought this many times on my show, is old culture, new culture. And we're phasing into that sort of new culture of the culmination of all the backgrounds of people that have called Guam their home and sort of shaped the culture into what it is today.
Yeah.
Music, when you heard music on Guam, it was that obvious country background to it. Has that country twang to it.
Yeah.
Right. But now it's like I said, it's like, what, it's from Guam? You know, it's confusing almost. But it's sort of that we have to understand that this is evolution, right?
It is.
That's how things evolve.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you give information to people or expose people to different things, right?
It's huge, man. Really. And I mean, this is just a short comment on that, but the idea that we've had Chamorro music for so long, right? And there's just a point in time where it just full stop, more or less. I mean, yes, we had everybody, like certain people who would continue it, but like it was so prevalent at one point in time with all the artists, Johnny Sablon, JD Crutch,
right.
KC,
countless CDs out there.
endless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're in that time where like everything's shifting, and I think this is our generation and carry on. You know, some people before us too. Like, I think from here on out, there's going to be this ridiculous change in every aspect of the culture, not just arts, but I think in general. And you see that with you know, people who are advocates of Chamorro culture, and you know, people who are carving jewelry, or you know, dance, and even like the advocates for like, you know, preserving Guam as, you know, like
of what it used to be.
What it used to be, yeah. So I don't know, man. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I don't think about like on a daily basis, but when you have an open conversation about it, it blows your mind, because it's insane to think of it like chronologically too.
Well, yeah, it's a grim reality, right?
Yeah.
That things have to change, but there still has to be a sense of preservation and conservation.
Yeah.
But you have to still allow things to change.
Yeah. It's
It's
constant.
a fucking hard pill to swallow,
Yeah.
and it's a hard conversation to have with some people.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, nah, dude, nah. This is like, I'm not the keeper of how things are supposed to be, but this is just the way things happen.
Yeah.
Technology now, people are exposed to information you don't even want them to know.
Yeah, of course. It's
You know?
true.
And you expect that not to change the mindset of people,
Mm-hmm.
or evolve the way people are think or creating.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like,
Crazy.
yeah, it's bullshit if you think otherwise, right?
Right.
But
Yeah, the only thing constant, man, is change.
Yeah.
That is the only constant.
but we can still preserve and conserve and
Yeah.
and keep things alive. But I don't know. I'll probably get a bunch of hate for it. You know
That's
what I mean?
okay.
And I've said it many times before. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like that's just, you cannot. It's a freighting train.
Yeah.
You know, change is a freighting train. It's either you're jumping on with it or
Yeah.
and salvage what you can.
Yeah. And I think we will, you know?
Well, we will.
We
And
will.
People, there are people on Guam doing a tremendous job,
Mhm.
and not only on Guam, dude, out here in the States. Q from Island Block Radio.
Yeah.
His mom is the one that started the. There's a cultural group up there, you know, that up in LA, and she started that. You have the Guam Club down here, up in the Bay Area. You have another group of guys who have started sort of this community to keep the culture of Guam alive in people's hearts, right?
Yeah.
Because now, say you plan to live out here for the next 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, your kid's probably going to grow up here, be 20
Right.
years old, and what you know about Guam culture is possibly all they're going to get.
Yeah. That's a dilemma. That's a dilemma I think about all the time. But it doesn't bother me.
No, not
you
at
know,
all. It
like,
shouldn't.
it's not something that's going to keep me from raising the children the way I was raised.
Right.
And like teach them the same core principles and culture. But yeah, I think about that. Man, I think about that a lot. But it's not. I personally, I see myself out here for a very long time, if not forever. But guarantee, if when the time comes to have children, they're gonna know, you know. And if they don't know by me, they're gonna go there and figure it out.
Yeah,
you
and,
know.
and I guess there needs to be an importance of understanding of the people who do live on Guam, that there are Chamorros that make their decisions, or Guamanians
Mhm.
that make their decisions to live out here, but still teach the culture. But you cannot discredit
Yeah.
the kid or the person,
Yeah,
the
it's
adult,
it's
if
not
they
fair.
didn't grow up on Guam, that they don't know what true culture is, right?
Yeah, it's not fair. It's diaspora, man. Like,
Yeah,
you
bro.
know? So it's okay. Like it's a multi-dimensional culture. That's what Guam is, you know.
Agreed. Agreed.
But we have to accept it, and then we also have to just constantly bring people up. Never look down on anybody with the way that they know that it's supposed to be, but also be informative and, you know, encouraging too. And I think that's where it'll all come full circle. But it's very interesting, man. And I hope that when the time comes and we have a family and I have kids, I can hopefully get that low fare cost to Guam every weekend.
Hopefully that billionaire comes out of somewhere.
Yeah.
5 years. Where do you see yourself?
5 years. I'll be 28 next month. Oh man.
I'll be 31 next month, on the 9th.
Oh, nice. 18.
Okay.
Okay, so early 30s. So what I do now, I've grown a lot in my job, in my career in the past 2 years, exponentially, really, from when I started to what I'm doing now. So I can see myself building a career in what I'm doing. I see myself, I see a full album produced and mastered under my name. And I see myself really, honestly, if we're talking about music, in 5 years, I want to be fully proficient producer. I want to be able to produce people, and I want to also focus and for anybody that's listening too, it's been on my mind a lot, and I kind of got to figure out the way to do it, but I want to kind of create this this program to where like people in the Chamorro community or people from Guam, whatever have you, if they're interested in creating music, like I want to be that outlet for them. So I'm trying to figure out the idea.
Shit, bro, you live in one of the biggest Guam communities.
That is true. Yeah.
You know?
So it's
in the States alone,
right,
you know?
Right. So it's just kind of how I can get that message across. But if there's ever people who are interested in writing Chamorro music or writing music, period, that will be a part of that quote unquote identity of Guam and Chamorro culture.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to perpetuate that for them.
For sure.
And if I can help in one way or another, whether it be, let's write one song for free or let's collab on something, like that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to focus on.
Produce a chant for one of the clubs over at the Guam Club, right?
Whatever it may be. Whatever I can do audio-wise or even musically, that's where I see myself as producing in the next 5 years and growing as an individual when it comes to, one, my culture, and two, my passions, music. So that's where. And family, definitely be married and have kids and keep adulting, I guess. For lack of
keep paying bills and taxes.
Yeah. Pay off my car. Yeah.
You just took out a loan last week.
Pay my credit card off. That's a big goal. Yeah.
I'm learning with credit cards, you gotta refinance.
Yeah.
You gotta keep looking for the better deal. Like, shit, okay, we're refinancing with this card.
Yeah, I went to the bank, they're like, hey, you're available to check if you can get a lower interest rate. I was like, no, I'm good. And they're like, but you can do it once a year without being getting a negative ticks on your credit score. I was like, okay, whatever. They did it, and I was like, damn, I waited years to check on this, and I only now I'm getting the benefits of a lower interest rate.
I thought you guys were tricking me this whole time.
You guys are scammers. I was scamming myself, man. Yeah.
Adulting 101, right?
Adulting 101.
That's a shit they don't teach you in school.
They don't, and they should. Yeah. I think they really should, because I learned this all on my own, man. Yeah. Like, I'm kind of weird and frugal, but I'll spend money, obviously, but I will go on my phone and I will budget my life to the fucking dollar. And it's crazy, but I think it's I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Especially with what we do, is a very expensive hobby.
Yeah, for sure.
Granted, this is a pretty, I feel like, semi-modest.
Yeah.
But what I want to do, and my vision in my head, and Instagram and everybody and the whole social media world leading to me to the ideal studio, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So
for sure.
I gotta keep doing the budget. I gotta keep adulting, man, and looking for those lower interest rates.
Every time me and my lady go on a trip, I'm like, we gotta stay in like a hostel or something. I'm sorry.
$20 a night.
Yeah.
We'll get bunk beds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just came off a trip, me and my girl too, and man, you definitely know what it is to. One, it's nice that you get PTO. That's a nice thing, and two,
right,
to save money, like doing things to save money. But then when you're there, it doesn't matter. It goes out all the window.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, or unfortunately for my lady, it doesn't go out the window.
No, yeah.
Wait, hold on. It's way too expensive. We can't hold that in our luggage. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Bro, but damn, bro, I really appreciate it, dude.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
It's cool. I really like your space, and thank you for allowing me to come in and pick your brain, talk to you, and just
absolutely, man. Anytime.
I think it's important to, and every interview that I do after this is like I'm gonna start even realizing even more how important it is to create that connection between Guam and here with the people who love Guam as a place, as a culture, as this is where I grew up at. I've never been there, but I love the place to death. It's important to create connection, and I feel like just doing this, we've created a connection in connecting other people who maybe have not heard of me or have not heard of you.
I agree.
And I hope to keep doing this. Maybe one day go up and down the West Coast and I can just
I would love
talk to people in their studios like this.
And I would love to see that, man. And you know, I'm honored to really be a part of this and hopefully spread a positive message to people out there, and also your listeners, and also anybody that's trying to grow a craft. Like they can take you for what you do, and also myself, and whatever it may be, that they know like it's not impossible.
Not impossible.
Don't limit yourself just because you're Chamorro or you're from Guam.
Yeah,
anything's possible. It's just your drive.
Yeah, I think I've learned that just simply putting yourself out there is the first best step that you can ever take.
Yeah,
and 100% of the time it'll surprise the fuck out of you.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, there won't be 0 people that are watching.
Yeah,
maybe 10, but it's not 0.
That's
maybe
deep.
maybe 100, not 0.
It's funny you said that, and this is kind of weird, but that video I put out today. Normally, I put something on Facebook and it goes crazy, and I'm not about views. I'm not about crazy like interaction, but I love to see that people are enjoying it. But I put that video last night. I was like, wow, that's weird. Like it was just very quiet. And then my homie, the guy who's drumming in the video, his name's Chris, amazing guy. Like he's like 700 views. I was like, that's dope. It's not like the other ones, but it's pretty dope. Yeah. And he's like, well, it's better than 1. and it's like literally what you were just saying now. And it's funny, yeah. So you have to be vulnerable, and you have to like just roll with the punches.
Yeah,
man.
just
take the criticism, do what you have to do, but do it.
Yeah, having perspective.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes we can get caught in the blinders, right?
Yeah.
Running the race with our blinders on.
Yeah.
But all we got to do is lift them up and do the immediate to our left, or left or right. Some shit's happening, right? So, yeah. At least with this, that's what I've learned is just really putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, it'll surprise you. If you're listening, it'll surprise you. 100%
Just do it.
of the time.
Just do it. Whatever you want to do it. Because the only person that's stopping you is yourself,
Right.
So, and whether it be 1 or 1 million, somebody's going to appreciate it, and I think you'll gain a lot from any of that you receive. And it's taught me a lot, man, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah.
So.
Sure, but thank you again, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming over, too.
Yeah, this worked. Till next time. Yeah, he's usually on the mic. Till next time, everybody. Peace out.
I'm the shoots.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Peter Cruz, right? Tribal Theory, great band. Support local even when they're not here on Guam. Is that how you say it? They're local anyways. So I'd like to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Mosa's Joint, serving up the island's best chow, happy hours, and vibes wrapped into one package. No discount codes, but be giving away some free stuff. So look over my IG stories where I usually do pretty much everything. Also to Dimension Systems, providing the best computer and IT solutions on the island since 1987. To Stroll Guam, use the code word MASTERGU, MASTERGU, and get $10 off your next ride. And last but not least, Tommy's Pizza, where you can seriously eat New York style pizza made in Guam, made local, made with love. So go eat good pizza. Don't forget to support us on Patreon. Whatever you like to support us, it goes to us, the podcast. This is where you can literally become the podcast. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, give the podcast a rating. Any rating is fine, but of course, the best ratings are always the best, and that'll be dope. And thanks again for being the baddest.